Welcome to our online meditation for Maundy Thursday. Now, it's been a long time since we've been able to welcome friends and family into our homes, but hopefully it won't be long before we're able to do so again. Often, when people come into the house, they like to take off their shoes. Now, foot washing isn't really part of our culture, but imagine being welcomed in and your host offering this to you. It would be a very humbling gift to offer, as the only way that you can wash someone's feet is to kneel and bow your head in front of them. No wonder that in Jesus' time, when foot washing was common, it was usually the role of a very humble servant. Do you remember John the Baptist when he was asked if he was the Christ? He replied, "No. Among you stands one whom you do not know, who is coming after me. I am not worthy to untie the thong of his sandal." Jesus, the Son of God, Messiah, who John didn't even feel worthy to untie his sandal, is now untying the sandals of his friends and going even further. He is gently washing their dirty, smelly feet, cradling them lovingly in his hands. Today we're going to be thinking about our servant king. Jesus washes the feet of his disciples. It was before Passover, and Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and to return to the Father. He had always loved his followers in this world, and he loved them to the very end. Before Jesus and his disciples gathered for dinner, the adversary filled Judas Iscariot's heart with plans of deceit and betrayal. Jesus knew that he had come from God and would go back to God. He also knew that the Father had given him complete power. So during the meal, Jesus got up, removed his outer garment and wrapped a towel around his waist. He put some water into a large bowl. Then he began washing his disciples' feet and drying them with the towel that he was wearing. But when he came to Simon Peter, that disciple asked, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" And Jesus answered, "You don't really know what I'm doing, but later you will understand." "You will never wash my feet," Peter replied. "If I don't wash you," Jesus told him, "you won't really belong to me." Peter said, "Don't just wash my feet, wash my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "People who have bathed and are clean all over only need to wash their feet. And you, my disciples, are clean, except for one of you." Jesus knew who would betray him, and that is why he said, "except for one of you." After Jesus had washed his disciples' feet and had put his outer garment back on, he sat down again. Then he said, "Do you understand what I have done? You call me your teacher and Lord, and you should, because that is who I am. And if your Lord and teacher has washed your feet, you should do the same for each other. I have set the example, and you should do for each other exactly what I have done for you. I tell you for certain that servants are not greater than their master, and messengers are not greater than the one who sent them. You know these things, and God will bless you if you do them. It must have been really hard for the disciples to accept someone they looked up to and admired as much as Jesus, humbling himself in this way. He was kneeling at their feet. He was washing their dirty, smelly feet. How hard it must have been to allow him to touch such an unattractive part of themselves. They probably wanted to hide away their grimy feet from him, not put them into his hands. Peter, of course, objected. We love Peter. He always says what he thinks. When he realised it wasn't optional, he wanted to do more, offer more, show his enthusiasm. But Jesus says, no, this is enough. Sit back and let me tend to your feet. Let me cleanse you. How do we feel about this, I wonder? We speak of humbling ourselves, maybe even kneeling at the foot of the cross. But could we have sat in that upper room and allowed Jesus to kneel before us? Allowed him to wash us clean? To put our dirty, smelly feet into his hands? And accept what he offers us? Afterwards, Jesus offers the gentle but robust challenge. I have served you. Now go and do the same for each other.
Next, they moved to the table. Now, the Passover meal was a great tradition, and the disciples probably thought they knew what to expect. However, Jesus had a new ritual to introduce to his friends that evening. Taking the bread, he broke it and said, "This is my body broken for you." Pouring out the wine, he said, "This wine is my blood poured out for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Now, Jesus had called himself the bread of life before, but now he's showing them the bread broken for them. It's a hint of what is to come. In Jewish times, blood was considered to be the life of a living creature, and it was treated carefully. Blood was used in animal sacrifice for the forgiveness of sins, and it was also used as a seal of a covenant promise. So to mention blood in this context would have been quite shocking to his friends. But again, Jesus does it very deliberately as a hint of what is to come. Jesus is preparing to offer his life for his followers, and he offers them and us a ritual to unite us and help us to remember him and this gift that he freely gives us, his life. During their final meal together, the disciples must first accept their great leader and teacher, humble himself as a servant at their feet. Soon they will need to accept Jesus, the Messiah and Son of God, allowing himself to be humbled and hurt so much further. He will be wounded and killed, tried like a criminal, and put to death in a humiliating and very public way. During this last meal together, Jesus gently prepares his friends for what is to come. My body broken for you, my blood poured out for you. Lord Jesus, as we walk through Holy Week with you, pondering the days leading up to your great sacrifice of love, be with us. Help us to know you at a deeper level and to experience your undying love for us. Draw us near. We look forward with hope to Easter Sunday and the great gift of sharing communion and worship in your house once again. Amen.